because not only is she a musical genius, the most talented songwriter. If you go over her body of work, she wasn't just one song, she was 10 albums. You know, Nothing Compares to You was a great song, made her own though. It was written by Prince, but she wrote so many other fantastic, brilliant songs, did some amazing duets. She and McGarn from the Pogues, she did a beautiful song called Haunted. She really was an incredibly talented singer-songwriter. But not only that, politically, she was a trailblazer. She spoke up about things before they were acknowledged in the public. Her classic tearing of the photograph of the Pope in 1992 on Saturday Night Live, which created such vitriolic hate towards her, then turned out to be the truest thing ever, because the Catholic Church had been abusing priests, had been abusing children. She was way ahead of her time. She was so much bravery, so much courage, so fearless. The world has lost a brilliant person.
My mum rang me last night and she said, "Did you hear about Sinead?" And she didn't even have to say the second name. I knew exactly what she was talking about. I'd heard the news in the car on the way home, and I was pulled up outside Lidl and I just cried. Couldn't get out of the car for about 15 minutes. She was important for so many women, probably my age, I'm in my 40s. She was iconic. She was brave, she was bold, she was beautiful. She was a pure punk, really, you know. She stood up for everything she believed in. She gave 2 fingers to the church, who at that time really in the 90s, had such a hold over Ireland. It was still part of our education. They were in schools. I was, educated by nuns, and there were, it was just a time in the 90s where she was kind of dragging Ireland out of the dark ages, I suppose, kicking and screaming in a way. She stood up for women's rights, productive rights. She stood up for people with AIDS. She stood up for people who didn't have a voice, people who were marginalised, and what a voice she had, the voice of an angel.
I grew up listening to her with my mom. My mom was a single mother as well when I was growing up, so I think Sinead really spoke to her with her music, and I think she has a kind of uniqueness about her that's very much past. She's known by the younger generation as well because of that, because of all the stuff that she did, because she was such a trailblazer.